Welcome to the Football Show on PLZ Soccer's YouTube channel. I'm Peter Martin. Alan Ruff and Tam McManus are here with me, and thank you to you for showing your support over the course of the week and the season. Don't forget, if you hit the subscribe button on our YouTube channel, you can join the football family. And if you want to head there to the Champions League final with your mate, all you have to do is subscribe to PLZ Soccer's premium service, and you and your mate could be on your way to Budapest to the Champions League final in 2026. Flights and accommodation thrown in as well. And as ever, Cameron Commercial Vehicles is our main sponsor. We're delighted. If you're looking for a van, Sean's your man. It's as simple as that. He's waiting on your call. All you have to do is look up Cameron Commercial Vehicles and they can source a new or a used vehicle for you in any of the trades. So good luck with that. Delighted to have Cameron's with us. And let's not forget also, for the season, our main charity is Maggie's Cancer Care. And if you go to www.maggies.org, you can find out all the support you need if you know of a family member or indeed a friend who's affected by cancer. They provide great support for you. Lots to talk about. Football as ever, not only domestically but European situation as well as what we're going to talk about. Miserable night for Scottish clubs in Europe. Celtic outclassed by Roma. Rangers' defensive frailties exposed once again. Aberdeen out of Europe with no wins. And of course, over the course of the weekend, we've got Scottish Premiership football. Who's going to lift the first domestic trophy of the season in the Premier Sports Cup final on Sunday between Celtic and St Mirren? And we'll also be discussing the World Cup ticket prices for the Tartan Army. Not too many of them will have access to them, but whatever you get available to you, it's going to be mightily expensive. We're going to discuss that as well, because a lot of people are up in arms about the tickets in the USA for 2 in Boston and 1 in Miami. So all you have to do is don't forget to hit the subscribe button. We'd love to hear from you. We will indeed read out some of your messages as well to get your thoughts on some of the main football issues. Hi to everybody, Bob, as well as Annie, and lots of other people who'll be joining us over the course of this hour. Okay, Celtic 0, Roma 3, outclassed, fair to say it?
Yeah, I think the first 45 minutes was a bit embarrassing for the whole of the Celtic team. It's very evident that the system he wants to play, 3-4-3, he hasn't got the players that are good enough to play European football at that level. 2 wing-backs that don't know how to defend, and I would throw the 3 centre-backs as well who don't know how to defend either. You know, apart from that, you've not got a recognised centre-forward, so they're in an absolute mess at this precise moment in time.
3 goals, the manner of them, quick, certainly the first one, an OG, but it silenced the stadium. Over and above that, I mean, Scales, OG, that's fine, it can happen, but he was culpable, I thought, in the other 2 as well.
Yeah, he didn't have his best night, Peter, in terms of the own goal and the 2 goals from Ferguson, but yeah, Celtic, just to echo what Ruffy said, Celtic were all over the place. I think the 3-4-3 formation with the 2 wide players, Tenekte and Yang, just doesn't work. They're not defensive minded enough, and the 2 wide centre backs, Trusty and Tierney, were getting skinned. You know, we're getting annihilated down that side, 2v1. Roma were just working the ball wide, creating 2v1s, cutting balls across, you know, crossing balls in, and Celtic were all over the place. It was like chaos at the first half. Second half, he changed it slightly, brought some subs on. Celtic were better in the second half, but I thought Roma had the game won, but then took the foot off the gas. So worrying. I think if you're a Celtic supporter watching that first half, you know, I don't think Celtic would have won the game with any manager in charge. I think Roma are a better side with better players. But it was the way that they lost the goals, Peter, to go in 3-0 at half time. They had an opportunity just before half time to get back in it. You know, Engels missed the penalty, but a really dreadful night for Celtic, and more questions to answer for the manager, I think.
Yeah, I mean, John makes a good point when he says Celtic would have been outclassed by Roma even under St Martin. They are a top side.
Yeah, they're just looking at them, they look a different kind of player than the Celtic players. They all look like giants compared to the Celtic boys. The Celtic were so out-muscled, out-jumped, out-fought, just for the strength of them, different kind of player. And I just thought that they get bullied all over the place. You know, I think the manager was right when he came out. I think he came out afterwards and said we got bullied. They certainly did, because they didn't have the strength. And then obviously we touched on it. You looked at the bench of Roma when their bench came on. You know, the 3 players that they brought in. You know, Celtic have got nowhere near that kind of class sitting on the bench to come on and sort of a change a game.
Bullies is one thing, but I thought technically moving the ball. I mean, there was players there that had the skills as well, but they were able to quickly make one touch on a pass rather than 2 and 3, Tam.
Yeah, I just think they look different class from the Celtic players. I think that, as you said, technically on the ball, comfortable on the ball, strong. In duels, they were shrugging the Celtic players aside. They were organised. They played 3 at the back as well, but they were well drilled. They knew how to play that system. I think Celtic might get away with a 3-4-3 against lesser opposition here. Against top opposition, they're going to get done, and they get done time and time again in the first half. 3-0 probably flattered Celtic. So, yeah, all in all, I think that a disappointing performance. Second half was better. Any actual coming on looked lively. Should have scored. Unlucky with the one that got chopped offside. Too many Celtic players off their game, Peter. I thought Tenecte was poor. I thought Nygren was poor. I thought Hatate was poor. Yang. Scales had a poor game. Who's probably one of Celtic's best players. So I think all in all, the players didn't really turn up on the night, and you have to against a very good Roma side. But we'll speak about the game on Sunday now. It's an enormous game for Wildried Nancy already. I think there's a few daggers out amongst the supporters already, probably, and whether he sticks with that or not, I don't know. But he has to win the final on Sunday.
I'll disagree with that in a moment.
But don't think he has to win the final?
No, I'll argue the point with you on that shortly. But Nygren is a good point you make, because I didn't think that Nygren understood that the people wearing the hoops were the team that he had to pass the ball to. He didn't get that. I thought Schmeichel's distribution was woeful.
Yeah, when you're doing that, building up for the back, you need players that are comfortable on the ball. I definitely think, okay, some of the distribution's poor, but if you're hitting a poor ball to somebody who's got the ability to get out of it, do you know what I mean? Celtic don't have that kind of player. They don't have that kind of player who's going to have the confidence to deal with a bad kick out. And every time it happened, and Scales in particular, he was just passing it to people under pressure, and the people that were under pressure couldn't dig themselves out of a hole, and all of a sudden they're under attack,
Yeah.
And I noticed that, and I know we'll talk about the other 2 games. I noticed that in the other 2 games as well. In European football, when you make a mistake, you're under pressure. The teams are that good. If you make a bad pass, you're under pressure. They're at you as quick as anything, and 9 times out of 10 you're going to be punished. We saw last night that any time they got the chance, you got punished.
Yeah.
But when Celtic got the chance, you never got punished.
Tam, good players when they press can at every level you play football. If somebody presses you and you can't lift your head and you've got to rely on your first touch, if you're coming up against teams that are not giving you that extra 2 or 3 seconds to think, what am I going to do? Good players sometimes can actually think, I know where I'm going to put this before I even think about a touch. But, even the ball directly down the middle to Maeda. Maeda's not in a group of players that's going to hold it in, lay it off, one touch. At times they get found out, and that's where I thought most of the team get found out when the ball was coming in at them quickly, a pass that was with a bit of force. You knew the player was right up your back end, and your first touch had to be immaculate, and it just wasn't. Yeah,
I just think that Roma went and got after Celtic, went and pressed them, Peter, and you're right. If you're pressing teams and you're pressing high and look at the quality play through, you're going to win the ball back all the time. Celtic do it to teams here.
Yeah.
They've done it under Ange Postecoglou. They pressed from the front, and the teams weren't good enough to play through that press. Celtic weren't good enough. If Celtic were good enough to play through the press last night, they would have got a lot of joy, because Roma were all in. They were going for it, to try and win the ball high up the pitch. Celtic weren't good enough to break through that. And that's where Roma kept picking up the ball 30, 40 yards for goal and building attacks. And yeah, you're right. I think you're needing a more physical presence than Maeda. I think Iheanacho, when he came on, started to hold the ball up a bit more. He's a natural striker, and that allowed people to get around about him and to build the play. But yeah, that straight ball up to a striker, as an ex-striker myself, it's the worst ball we can get. I think it was the second goal or the third goal where the ball get played into Maeda's feet, and he played it back, I think, to Hatate, who lost the ball. It's a horrible ball to deal with. I think it was Schmeichel who fired the ball into him. It's a straight ball, because the defender can just come right through the back of you. So, I just thought Celtic technically were outclassed last night. And as I said, it wouldn't have mattered if Martin O'Neill was the manager. I just think they were a better side. I just think it was alarming, the space that Roma got in the first half and the chances they created. But if you're a Celtic supporter, you're thinking, we should have played more tighter. Maybe let's change the system to suit the players.
And again, it goes back to, and this is something that, was on the back burner for a wee while, but it goes back to the point where you can get, and I'm talking about levels here, you can get a Celtic side that can go to the Allianz Arena Even when they had a striker sold from underneath their noses in Kyogo, they could still go there and play a high press, a good brand of football, quick passing, one touch, really impressive. And then once you're derailed by the board, and then you slowly but surely lose players through injury, don't sign players of a certain quality. And remember, by the way, they could have had the boy Ferguson on loan as well, and they never moved for him. Now, there could be an excuse in there saying maybe his wages were too high, they didn't want to pay it. But he's on loan at Roma, and he's the perfect type of player that Celtic needed up there, who was a different style different to Iheanacho, different to Maeda, could have actually given them an out ball high up the pitch, because he looks as if he's a sturdy boy who could hold the ball in as well, and of course he could hit a shot last night.
Yeah, I don't think Celtic are going to get him now. I think that ship sailed. I think that his performance last night, I don't think he's been playing a lot for Roma. I think they obviously gave some players some game time last night.
This wasn't
He's
their
been on
first
the bench.
team.
Yeah, it was. As I said, they rested 3 or 4. As Ruffy said, the 3 they brought on are regular starters. So yeah, listen, he played really well last night. He scored 2 great goals. But in terms of Celtic, yeah, I just think the quality. Celtic have not got the quality now. I think that the confidence is low as well. Losing that first goal, you could hear the anxiety in the stadium, Peter, and that doesn't help.
Did you see the pictures on the game? Did you see the stands?
Yeah,
there was a real. I mean, from the Brendan Rodgers people scunnered situation to the anger over the board, and then to Martin almost re-energising the support and filling them full of hope, filling them full of expectancy at a certain level, to then last night, you're looking at it panning around the stadium, and it's almost as if the life's been sucked out of everybody again.
Yeah, I don't know if that's because of the level they're at. Obviously, it's not a Champions League night, Peter. And last year there was some great Champions League nights, and the Celtic supporters want to be at the top table. They want to be in the big competition, but Europa League's probably the level now. So
yeah, but the high of Feyenoord.
Yeah.
Suddenly you look at that stand and they're like,
yeah, but I know, Peter, that's what like supporters are. You know, give them a winning run like Martin did, and they're happy. You know, they're not worrying about what's happening with the board, and they're not happy. We're winning games, we're going home with a smile on our face, and everybody's talking about us beating Feyenoord away from home and on a winning run and all that, and that's all that the fans will be talking about. Then you go on a downward slide of losing 2 games, and it's not very often Celtic lose 2 games, you know, so then the supporters go, oh, here we are, we're back to where we were again.
Yeah.
This is us back, and if obviously whatever happens at the weekend, we'll have to wait and see there. That somebody's got to build the whole fan base up again, or it's all going to kick off.
I think the Celtic supporters they're concerned about the managerial appointment at the minute, Peter. I don't think that there's.
So.
Yeah, I don't think there's a whole heap of confidence behind Wildried Nancy from the Celtic support. Plus, the fact that Martin O'Neill came in and done so well. I think a lot of people were pining for him to get the job on a more permanent basis. So, I think those two things maybe added to the apathy last night at the game.
Bologna next. Can you see anything?
No, they're flying. I think they won last night away to Celta Vigo. They're near the top of the table, and I don't see Celtic getting anything in Bologna. The last game against Utrecht, so won 8-1.
Okay, we'll talk about the Premier Sports Cup final shortly, but we've got to get the European stuff out of the way. If Celtic was, a lesson in technical ability and the level that Roma were operating at, and obviously the asset stripping that's gone on at Celtic, then what about Rangers? Ferencváros 2, Rangers 1. Started well enough with a good Miovski goal. Obviously, we all had to wait for it. Mm-hmm. But then from there, the defensive frailties once again, not tracking your runners.
No, you're right. And it's amazing in this day and age that a team of Rangers' quality and standard can get beat by a ball over the top. How many times have we seen that? A ball over the top, and it's panic stations, It's just a matter of communication between the 2 centre-halves. One marks his man, the other one drops off in case he doesn't get it. I mean, they don't do that. They're so out of touch with each other, and anybody that throws that ball over the top. And I'm sorry, but I have to give Tavernier pelters again. Tavernier is such a disappointment in European football. He never defends. He doesn't defend his area. And people identify that when he's playing a European football, he wanders and he wants to get forward, and great if he goes forward and he puts a quality ball in. But he's got, as a person,
he's got to go and stop that cross.
Defend. When the boy played that diagonal ball, he was about 30 yards for the boy. He was away in the middle of the midfield. I don't know why he was in the midfield. And also the second goal as well. I mean, he just didn't pick
Well, that was
the ball up
Fernandes.
at all. Yeah, I know that,
Yeah.
but I mean, he allowed the
stop
ball.
the cross.
He allowed the ball to come in, and it was so easy for the boy just to have a touch and fire it in. But Fernandes, I don't know what he was doing.
Yeah, but there's a responsibility, Tam. Listen, you can highlight, and I'm not defending James Tavernier at all here. What I am saying to you is, when you are a team that wins and loses, and you have the attitude of everybody's got a job to do, Gassama lets the guy run off him, fails to track that run, and then eventually they get that first goal. You defend from the front. You know, your forwards can put in a shift. The midfield protects the back line as well. You know, Rangers, you know, even teams domestically can pick them off.
Yeah, listen, I think obviously the first goal, I think that, Gassama's got to go with the run, it just gets played round him. Then Raskin's got to come across, it's a cutback, then it's a finish, and it's a terrible time to lose a goal as well. I think there was 5 minutes added in the first half, and it was the last minute added time. You know, Rangers had a real opportunity to go in 1-0 up, regroup, and go in and get a big win for themselves and get themselves a wee chance to get through. But the second goal, James Tavernier's lazy defending, he's got to stop the cross coming in. And then Fernandes, I don't think I've ever seen a centre-half turn to face his own goal when the cross is coming in. It was incredible, Peter. I've never seen that in my life. I've never seen that in all the time I've watched football. It was weird, and it's a terrible goal for Rangers to lose. I think that's the main problem for Rangers is defensively. I think the two centre-backs, two young lads at the minute, they're crying out for a Davy Weir type centre-half. They're crying out for, in a January window, somebody at 33, 34, just to come in and talk to people. Clint Hill, somebody like that of that ilk, Peter, who can come in and just... He's not a centre-half for me. I think that Rangers, until they sort that back four out in those two centre-back positions, they're going to struggle.
Yeah, two. You've narrowed it down to two. I've said
last
week I said four.
I think they need four. The two fullbacks can't defend either, and the two centre-backs at the minute are atrocious. So, yeah, Rangers need to sort that out, because I think midfield to front, they've got players that can go and cause teams problems, but defensively, yeah, I think so, Peter. I think they caused. Listen, I seen them the other night. Obviously, Kilmarnock, but did create chances against Dundee United. You were at the game.
Yeah.
They created a lot of chances last night. Didn't think they were that bad going forward as well. But defensively, they're all over the place, Peter.
I think it's a good point that Ali McCoist has made on commentary in the last couple of games as well, Ruffy. Only Rangers have managed to, in a couple of transfer windows, get rid of players that have scored goals, creative players that can beat a man, and replace them with people that can't beat a man.
They're the worst team now.
Well, if I think of European football, Czerny in particular, Czerny was the person who was going by
Czerny,
players.
Sima,
he was putting balls into the box and criticised Dessers if you want to, but at least he was getting a service. He was, I don't know what kind of ratio he was scoring, but he was scoring in Europe. He showed he was good enough to get goals in there, and there have just been big mistakes.
Yeah, absolutely. And even then, at that level, we're still critical of them. Let's not forget. I mean, I'm just talking about it going down in level, and every time they bought a player, it seems to be that the player is more inferior as every signing comes along, and if that's humanly possible, they've managed to do it. 1 point after 6 games. This is a Rangers side who were not long ago in the Europa League final, and now we're looking at Rangers, Celtic, and we're about to get on to Aberdeen. My God, the coefficient is dreadful.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know where we're sitting at now. Probably below San Marino, to be honest with you. But yeah, it's just been a dreadful season for the coefficient. It's been a dreadful season for Scottish football in Europe, and really has all the way from the start. You know, Celtic getting knocked out with Kairat Almaty, a shocker. Rangers getting hammered with Club Brugge, you know, and Hibs getting out, Dundee United getting out. You know, I just think the overall standard of Scottish football is low at the minute, and that is reflecting in the results in Europe. And until we start to get better domestically, Peter, and get better players playing in bigger teams, then we are going to continue to struggle and embarrass ourselves in Europe.
Brian makes a good point. He says, Peter, Celtic and Rangers teams combined couldn't make up a winning 11 for European football, and that says it all. I don't think I can disagree with you there, Brian. I think you've got a good point on it. Certainly, I looked at both games last night. It was poor to watch. So that's Celtic and Rangers. European football for Aberdeen. Lost to Strasbourg. Strasbourg are a good side again, but they failed to win any of their 7 games, Aberdeen. it's been dismal.
Yeah, we keep giving them a chance. We keep giving them a wee benefit of the doubt that it's getting better. After that hammer they got in Greece, and there has been signs of, it has been getting a wee bit better defensively. But last night, there's no excuse, particularly for the goal they lost. And if it wasn't for the Aberdeen goalkeeper, it could have been more. So I saw the manager saying he was proud of his players, blah, blah, blah. But he can only be proud of them that it wasn't 6-0. I think that's the only thing you can take out of that game.
Yeah. I must admit, I felt sorry for Aberdeen because I thought the Canister goal, for God's sake.
And that changes the game, Peter. You go 1-0 up.
What was it disallowed for?
It's a handball.
It came off his hand.
Header to hand into the goal.
I don't know. That's a shocker.
It was harsh.
No, harsh, very harsh, Peter. And it was a great header. And Aberdeen go 1-0 up. The fans get. It's a different game.
Absolutely.
It's a different game. So, yeah, I was flicking back and forward, obviously, with the both games been on. But yeah, I thought Aberdeen in the first half looked lively. I thought they started the game really well. Strasbourg are an excellent side. I think they're sitting in the top 4 or 5 in France. I think they're sitting near the top of that Conference League.
And that's also not their first team.
Yeah, I think they arrested a few players as well. But
that's a bad sign for us, isn't it?
You'd be disappointed with Aberdeen. I think that Strasbourg are a good side. AEK Athens, teams like that. I think no beating Noah the other week there. Armenian team at home. That's a shocker. You should be beating them. I look at some of the teams. The Irish teams are doing well, and that Shamrock Rovers teams like that are more competitive than Aberdeen. So that's a damning indictment as well in Scottish football, that the Irish teams are even doing better than us.
Yeah, sorry to any of the Irish viewers who are obviously not happy with our criticism of their league, but we are now in a situation where we're witnessing not only a real drop in quality. Our game at the moment might be competitive domestically, and there's some interesting storylines that we're all going to discuss shortly, but European-wise, we are going backwards. It's as simple as that, and it's embarrassing. I genuinely, I don't know how we address this situation, because quite simply, I see this as a Groundhog Day situation where we get to, and this is for the last 20 years, Ruffy, apart from Rangers over a 4 or 5 year period where I thought some of their performances were really good, the odd performance from Celtic, but you get to December, everybody's pumped out. You start to ask questions. Time you get to March, somebody from the SPFL releases, well, it's really a good league. It's really competitive. We've got top and bottom, all in the middle of it's all competitive to get into the top 6. And by the way, let's put out a wee story saying that we want to go to a 10-team league to put the frighteners up everybody. This is where we're at, and it's Groundhog Day.
Well, we're noticing that you have to pick our two best teams. For a long, long time, Rangers and Celtic. You have to look at the quality of player that they've got, and that's why we're struggling. They're not getting the coefficient points that we need now. And before, it was used to be Hibs' fault, Hearts' fault, Aberdeen's fault for getting knocked out early.
Yeah, it's still their fault.
Now it's collective. But now it's a collective.
Yeah.
It's the whole, every one of them are now thrown into it, that they are not contributing enough to get us the coefficient points. And it's obviously the quality of player that Rangers and Celtic and Aberdeen, and I don't know about Hibs. I think Hibs have got a bit better, and so have Hearts. But the quality of player that you're talking about is no longer here in Scottish football. Yeah,
and maybe some of the Scottish players we have to have a look at as well. Maybe we have to look at the structure of the league. This is not a knee-jerk reaction. This is something that we've discussed ad nauseum over the last 10, 15, 20 years about our dismal performances in Europe. And again, I discount and take out of this some of the great performances that Rangers have produced on a regular basis in Europe, which has kept that coefficient going at times, and sporadically Celtic. Okay, that's European football. Putting it to bed. Premier Sports Cup final. He could lose the cup final, Wildried Nancy, and I don't think... There are undoubtedly, Tam, going to be fans who would give him pelters, and they'll give the board pelters, and they'll not be fancying him. But, for God's sake, where are we, Tam, if we are going to slaughter somebody 3 games into a country? We've already had a ridiculous column from would-be pundit talking about his trainers, talking about, his tactics board. That I think we can disregard as just sheer lunacy. But we do have people actually questioning you know, him as a person, as a manager, as an appointment after one game.
Do you know what, Peter? I don't think they're questioning him as a manager. I think they're questioning him coming in and changing the system from what was doing well. I think that's more than...
Lots of managers do that.
I know that, Peter, but...
Jens Bertholaskau did it.
Yeah, he's had a pre-season to come in. I think when you look at Celtic, had won 5 in a row, playing a certain way, and now they've got... He's totally changed the system to 3-4-3. I think that's probably more than questioning his attributes as a manager, as a coach. Whether he sticks with that at the weekend, I don't know, but I think Celtic need to win this game, Peter. I don't think that he's going to get sacked if he don't win it, but I think the pressure will be incredible if he gets beat. If he loses his first 3 games as Celtic manager, the nice will be out for him. And I agree with you, it shouldn't be, but this is Glasgow, this is Celtic, and if you lose your first 3 games as a Celtic manager, you're going to be under pressure. That's just the law of the jungle.
I think you can give him a bit of leeway with the Hearts game and the Roma game. There is no leeway with St Mirren. On a game, he's got to go in and win that game.
Ruffy, you're 74, for God's sake, listen to yourself.
He's got to go and win that game.
He doesn't have to go and win the game. He wants to win the game as a Celtic manager, yes, because the expectations there. If he's beaten, he's right. We're living in a world now where the Celtic fans will go mental. Some of them will direct their anger towards the board because of the nature of the way the signings have gone, the recruitment process. He's 3 games into the bloody season for him.
But is that not one of the reasons why he needs to win it? So that these things don't happen that you're talking about?
So he loses the game. Is he going to get sacked?
No, of course he's not going to get sacked, but it's going to be for a new manager coming in, you want to be, you know, on the right side of the supporters and everything. So you only get that by winning games. If he loses this one, I mean, they're already talking about, is it the first time Celtic we beat, a new manager's been beat twice?
Yeah.
I mean, that's what people do. They start throwing out stats. I mean, if he doesn't get beat, St Mirren, what is that? Is he the first manager that's lost 3 games?
Peter, I think it's the players as well. I think when a new manager comes in and he's got his philosophy in the game, I think as a player, you'll follow him and you'll get behind him if you're winning games. I think if a new guy comes in and he's getting different way of playing, it sets the team up different system, and you lose the first 3 games, I think the players start to question it more than the fans will question it. I think the players will go, maybe we should get back to 4-3-3, or maybe we should get back to 3-5-2. I don't know if this is working.
What about? I'm just asking you this. I'm not. It's not so much I'm playing devil's advocate. I'm asking you. What about the manager comes in? I get Jens Bertholaskau in a pre-season, but what about the manager comes in, Danny Rule, and looks and says, "Well, I'm the manager now. I've got to be allowed to build it. Well, I'm the manager now. I've got to be allowed to get a transfer window in January. I'm the manager. I've got to be allowed to take them to the end of the season." You know, this is not a 6-game, 8-game deal. This is not a Crystal Palace. We don't like the way you're playing, Frank de Boer. I think we're going to bump you. You know, this is Celtic, who've signed this boy, brought him out of America and said, right, you're the manager. We are going to back you in this January transfer window because, quite simply, our own future is at stake because the Celtic fans already want 4 of us out of this.
I don't think there's any doubt about that, Peter. I don't think that, listen, the Celtic board's heads are on the block here, so is Paul Tisdale, so they're going to back him, similar to the Rangers situation. You know, with Patrick Stewart and Kevin Thelwell, they backed Martin to the hilt until they had no other option. So I think you're right. I think they're going to back him. But what I'm saying is, if a new Celtic manager comes in and loses his first 3 games, including a cup final, he's going to be under pressure. There's going to be questions getting asked. Is the job too big for him? That's going to be questions getting asked if he loses his first 3 games.
For a long time, we've been talking about the new Rangers manager coming into a mess. This guy's come into a mess. This is a
not
mess.
As big a mess as Rangers.
This is Johnston out, Cameron Vickers. Without Celtic in that defence are a mess. You've got Maeda in January who's out the door. I wouldn't be surprised if Hahati Hahati isn't that price bracket? Can you get that out there?
Is it?
Can you get that?
Hatati Morelos. Is there any chance?
No,
can you pronounce Morelos?
I can't get caught in the back of my head.
Okay then.
I wouldn't be surprised if he wants out the door. We've already decided that Yang and the other boy are murder. You know, they've not got a centre forward. He's got to deal with a mess. as much as what Rangers have got to deal
But it's
with.
not a bigger mess as Rangers, and no disrespect, they're playing St Mirren in a cup final. Celtic should be going and winning that.
Yeah, but listen, Danny Rule.
He's not hit the ground running, but he's been getting results, Peter.
No, I'll say that.
Domestically.
He's managed,
building something.
He's managed to steady it, because I think he's got a team of, not only underachievers, I think he's got poor quality, and I think a lot of them are guilty of failure. Simple as that. With Celtic, we've already highlighted that this guy's coming in. He's got a good standing in America. People can debate the level of MLS and the quality of player and the standard of the league. Who knows?
It's a better league than ours, put it that way.
Absolutely it is. For me it is.
Aye.
But I'm looking at it, I'm saying to myself, I genuinely think St Mirren have got a right good chance of taking Celtic on Sunday. I don't look at this game. I mean, I was there yesterday speaking to Stephen Robinson, listening to what Marcus Fraser had to say. I am looking at at that side and I'm saying, 2 games I've watched.
Why do you think that? I'll tell you what.
Because I've been at the 2 games that St Mirren played Celtic, and the last one, St Mirren absolutely matched them. They had good chances to win the game as well. Celtic relied on a last-minute stroke of genius from Callum McGregor. This team can have a go at them. This team can press them. This team can take a leaf out of Derek McInnes's book. This team can take a leaf out of Roma's to an extent as well and say, if you can get bodies into that 6-yard area, Celtic's central defence will make a mistake. And if they have to exploit a manager who's going to stick with, as you said, his formation, this is probably the earliest point where they can get maybe the players not buying into it, maybe the weaknesses of this new system. St Mirren have got a real chance, as do I think Hearts have, because they are going to spend in that window.
Yeah, I think if you're Stephen Robertson, you're watching that game last night, you're praying he sticks with this system. The 3-4-3, I think St Mirren with the 2 strikers will run in those channels all day. You've got Tenekte and Yang playing in the wide areas, Peter, who can't defend. And they're that deep. They're getting isolated for Maeda. The 3-4-3 just doesn't work. It just doesn't work with that personnel that Celtic have got at the minute. Negrin last night was all over it. I didn't know where he was playing. I didn't know what position he was playing. He was popping up on the left, popping up on the right. There was spaces everywhere. I think if you're St Mirren and you're watching that game last night, you're rubbing your hands. You think, we'll just get crosses in the box. We'll stick the ball down the channels in between Yang and Tierney or Trusty and Tenekte, whoever plays in that other line, and we'll get joy all day. We'll put crosses into the box and they can't defend. So I just think he's got to be flexible, Wildried Nancy. I just don't think this 3-4-3 is working. I think he's got to get players playing in positions that they're comfortable with, and I think last night showed that the players are not comfortable playing in the positions they've been asked at the minute. Yeah,
I also think he is going to have to rely on somebody coming up with another Callum McGregor moment. Because I look at St Mirren, he's obviously mentioned to us yesterday he's not going to take a chance with Mark O'Hara. Mark O'Hara's trained and he'll obviously get a place on the bench. He's been really good in the midfield for them. But they've got other players there in Mandron, Ayunga and Lundalu. They can cause problems for them. Phillips is a good example as well of players that can get at them. And Gogic I like, because I like somebody who's a scrapper.
If I'm in the St Mirren camp, you're definitely going to say, look, okay, we're getting them possibly at the right time. But again, it's what Celtic team turn up and how he shuffles it. I don't think he's got much to shuffle. I think he's got to play the centre forward and put Maeda wide. The Maeda in the middle, the Maeda as a centre forward is no working. Get him out wide and hitting with pace. But although St Mirren won last week, they hadn't won for a while. No, they weren't in great form apart from that win last week. Well, they'd done a right bad run. I don't think they'd won a game for about 5 or 6 games. So they were going through a wee bit of a bad time as well. But for me, again, it's all about turning up on the day, and I think we get a better idea when we see the team selections. But you're right, I've said all along that St Mirren are a team I wouldn't want to be in a fight with.
And I think that as well, Peter, with St Mirren, I think that Stephen Robertson would have watched the Hearts game with Derek McInnes, and Derek McInnes got his tactics spot on. He forced Celtic wide, just to cross it into the box. We've got 2 big centre-halves in here. We'll head it away all day. St Mirren are similar, they play 3-5-2, and they'll just go, get the ball in the wide area, Celtic, cross it into Maeda, cross it into Iheanacho, we'll defend it all day. So I would fear the worst if St Mirren scored first, because I think that St Mirren will just sit in and be hard to break down, much like Hearts were, and try and hit in the counter-attack. If Celtic get the first goal, obviously St Mirren need to come out a little bit, so first goal is massive in any game, but I think in this final, I think it's really important for either team.
Yeah, I mean, I did mention that obviously to Marcus Fraser as well. He's been there, won it with Ross County a cup, and a little bit older and wiser in the head, and I think, you know, with the experience they have in the team, and Stephen Robinson's ability to manage and say, listen, and it's interesting you talking about fear, you know, he's basically going to deliver the fans line, which is on some of the t-shirts, which is faith over fear. Have a belief in what the other players you've got around you. Have a goal. First goal is crucial, which they highlighted yesterday at the press conference. But I look at it and I think this has got another feel of an Aberdeen Cup final. I think this is an extra time, and who knows, penalties. The best chance I think Celtic have got is something a wee bit out of the ordinary from someone, because they're not looking good at the moment. I cannot believe the change dramatically from this downtrodden, lacking in confidence team under Brendan Rodgers to Martin plugging them in again, and then it's almost as if somebody's taken the plug out.
Yeah, plus the confidence is low as well, Peter. I think when the Celtic played, not used to losing 2 games in a row. You know, you've been hammered last night. You're going into this final, your confidence is not particularly high. There's not a lot of players that are playing really out their skin at the minute. Callum McGregor's been probably, him and Scales have been most consistent players, so the confidence is low as well. So I think as a St Mirren fan, you couldn't be getting Celtic at a better time. You couldn't be getting them at a better time than Sunday.
The good thing for the St Mirren players are they've been to Hampden. They've experienced a semi-final. The win against Motherwell. I think that's a big thing when you know, because a lot of these players probably never been to Hampden. And once you've been there and you've been in the dressing rooms and you've been on the park and you've got a win, turning up in a final is a lot easier than not being there before. Okay, that was a lovely little bit of confidence that you have instilled in most of the people from Paisley. But the great thing about me living in Paisley, we can always, and excuse the language here, we can always spot a bullshitter. So give us your prediction. I think a really tight game, but I think Celtic will win. 2-1. 2-1 Celtic. A really tight game. Oh, really tight. What really tight? The tightest really 2-1 that you've known? One each with about 5 minutes to go. Or maybe into extra time or something like that. All right, okay.
I can see a wee upset, Peter.
I'm going St Mirren in penalties.
I watched that Celtic team last night. I watched them against Hearts. Something not quite right at the minute. And I think if he sticks with the 3-4-3 and the 2 wingers playing as kind of wing-backy type, I think St Mirren will have a field day. So I think St Mirren will win a cup. I'll go for 2-1 at St Mirren.
90 minutes?
90 minutes, aye.
Yeah. I think they might win it in penalties. There you are. You got an opinion. Give us your opinion. What do you think? Celtic fans out there, are you as downtrodden as many looked in the panning round the stadium midway through the game, or do you think they'll rise to the occasion, to quote an old Climie Fisher song, and win the cup? Or is it a day when not only St Mirren win the cup, but as ever with these things, Ruffy, when it's not Celtic and Rangers, like Aberdeen, you get a chance to go on an open top bus, drive around Paisley, wave to everybody.
It's incredible. You know, unfortunately, when we won it with Partick Thistle, we didn't have an open top bus. We just had a single decker.
Was there no trams and all that back in?
Single decker.
I'll never forget, Ruffy.
Penny Farling.
And there was nobody there when we got back to the park, so...
You are waving to nobody.
Yes, nobody there.
Where were they?
I don't know. They just didn't expect us to win it. And we were to go back. We'd left all our clothes at the park. We went back there and there was nobody to let us in.
Well, yesterday I was speaking... yesterday I was speaking to Lee Mayer, and he said, you know, it's just incredible, because in 2013, you know, but they had bloody hell, I mean, St Mirren had a good side in 2013. And Jim Goodwin, you know, round about Paisley with the cup. It's something, and to be fair, it gives you a chance, and this is where Stephen Robinson will be able to deliver that speech, is to say, we walk in every day and we see the images of the 1987 Scottish Cup final team. We've seen the 2013 team. This is your chance to get your photograph up on that wall. You'll be remembered forever.
Yeah, it's a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. I mean, I played in a few finals myself, was never fortunate to win one, but I think if you're a player outside the Old Firm, I think it's more sweeter, you know, because as you say, if you're Hibs, Hearts, You know, St Mirren, Aberdeen, open top bus. You know, the whole city, the whole town's proud of you, and you get your day in the sun. So, and I think if you're a St Mirren player, you're looking at this Celtic team at the minute, new manager. You know, and I think what an opportunity for us to go. It's not as if you're going to play a top Celtic team, but you're thinking you've no chance. I think St Mirren have got a massive chance to win it.
I've not heard anybody talking about the ticket allocation. Have they taken up a few
13,000
number of tickets? That's
13,000.
good.
It's absolutely fantastic. The St Mirren fans have responded big time to it. I think they deserve credit.
Yep. And it adds to the atmosphere of a cup final, the colours.
Yeah, absolutely. Interestingly enough, I was speaking to Keith Lasley yesterday, and again, you know, obviously in response to some clubs, and I was critical of Hibs last week with the one section for Celtic fans, huge empty area, and then, you know, a splattering of about 50 Hibs fans in that area behind the goal. And I'm thinking, you know, as a business decision, why not take the money? Why not, you know, take that money for the boost the club's coffers? And Keith says, you know, that they've been rewarded for sticking by their own fans, and they've got a 25% increase in season ticket sales, uptake in tickets because they responded to the wishes of their fans. And I stand corrected to a degree, because some clubs, I think, cut off their nose to spite their face. But you know, Keith does a great job there at St Mirren, and he said, no, our fans have backed us and said, we'll have the three ends, you can have one end.
Yeah, because you've got supporters who'll be moaning about the massive allocation of Celtic Rangers supporters, and then the club will put the onus onto them. Well, okay, you know, we'll cut their allocation, but you need to buy the tickets.
And St Mirren
have done that, and I think Hibs and Hearts have done it as well, to be fair. And you know, you look after your own supporters first. Obviously, I've always said I think a bigger allocation away from home gives a away team a bigger boost. I think if you're shooting into 2,000 rather than 200.
You've got to give the St Mirren supporters a lot of credit, because at the early bit before they started giving the stand, they were giving away 2/3 of their ground.
Yeah.
And they went to the fans and said, look, we need the revenue. If you want to buy into this, you'll get better players. And it's worked.
Okay, that's the Premier Sports Cup final on Sunday. Give us your thoughts. Who's going to win it? Give us your prediction. I'll even allow you, if you're putting it in the live feed, to do a roughie, compliment the other side, and then say the other team's going to win. There's 3 league games on the Saturday, 1 on the Sunday, and Hearts have a chance to go 6 points clear if they can defeat Falkirk at 8 o'clock on a Saturday night.
I enjoyed it last week. I thought it was a good time.
Did you like that?
8 o'clock on a Saturday night. I thought it was a good kick-off time.
I used to start getting ready to go out at 8 o'clock. And then 10 o'clock.
It'd kill you if you want a night out after it. By the time you get on, the
say,
Saturday night was done.
Did you? But you went out to a pub, didn't you?
I was out last week in Merchant City watching the Kilmarnock Rangers game. It was great. I enjoyed it.
Yeah?
I think it was a good kick-off time. Something different.
Saturday night, I'm not having it, Ruffy, you?
No. You just sort of building yourself in for the World Cup for the 2 in the morning one.
Yeah, absolutely. That's another story coming shortly. Yeah, well, listen, it's Falkirk Hearts. And again, you know, my sources tell me that if they're in the mix, they're going to be spending some money. I'm not talking millions, but they're going to spend some money to give Derek McManus a right chance if they get to January and they're in the mix, and I think they will be in the mix. You know, it was a great win last week. This boy, Islam Chernikov, is arriving next week. Beningame is back training. And some of the other players, as you, maybe a couple of weeks away. But they've got good players. And although, you know, Falkirk, again, I stand corrected, a number of Falkirk fans, every time I meet them, are absolutely giving me belters.
Yep.
For suggesting.
My mate's a Falkirk fan, I just says you never give them any credit.
Yeah, well, 1 defeat in 6 games. Yep. They're 7th, they've got 21 points. They won't be relegated in my book now, but they're going to get cuffed.
Yeah, listen, I think the boost in confidence Hearts must get from that result and performance against Celtic at Parkhead last week must be enormous. The training this week will be buzzing. We'll all be desperate to get for this game. Falkirk will be tricky. I think they've had a really, really good season, but I just think Hearts will win this game. I think that, yeah, you're right. I think when you look at both Celtic and Rangers, both imploding off the pitch, both onto their second manager already, you know, the stars are aligning for Hearts to win the league. I don't know if they're going to do that, but they'll never get a better opportunity than the way the current Old Firm are playing and the strength and depth they've got at the minute in their squad. So, yeah, I think Hearts will win this, and I think they'll go 6 points clear. I
think if you're Derek McManus, nobody out there needs to second guess his team talk. It's, by the way, before you get onto that pitch, if you lose to Falkirk, last week means nothing. Yeah, have you got what it takes to win the league?
Yeah, I mean, that'll be the momentum. As Tam said, the place will be a high. Every player in the pool will want to be playing. Everybody will want to be active. They'll know they'll get a tough game against Falkirk. I think the best Falkirk could get out of this would be a draw, but they'll make it hard for Hearts. You know, obviously the surface will be. I think their surface is quite good. I think it's as bad as Kilmarnock's.
No, nice
I think it's so the Hearts players shouldn't have a problem with that. I've been impressed with Falkirk this year, and it's very. I know away from home they're more likely to get beat, but at home they seem to have players that can dig in and get something out of it. I think it'll be difficult. I'd love to say one each, but I think Hearts will win it.
Okay, Kenny says Falkirk may get a draw. Kenny's out there in LA. Is LA near Miami?
No.
No, exactly. And Franny says Falkirk are playing well. We accept that. Joseph says, much like St Mirren, Hearts won't get a better chance to win the league. Yeah, absolutely. And we have another Celtic fan who says Falkirk won, PLZ's fanboys won.
That might be my mate, Big Gordon.
Yeah, it could be. And Sean says, here we go, Hearts are going to win the league. Sean, it's all about opinions. Give us yours. Okay, Hearts to win 2-1.
3-2 Hearts.
2-1 Hearts.
Okay. There's a couple other really interesting games, good games. One of them, Dundee United against Motherwell. I'm going to be heading up to the City of Discovery. I've been in Dundee more times than some people who actually live there go back to see their parents at Christmas, Ruffy. So Dundee United against Motherwell. United, no wins in 6 games, 3 defeats.
That was your mother, won't you, really?
That's exactly... I'm not going to lie. I mean, you can't fool the punters. I'm going to have to see
Askew's fanboy.
I am. I really am Askew's fanboy because I just... Do you know what? I love watching Motherwell. If in this poor league that we have, Ruffy, it's competitive at a level, and they're a joy to watch. They play football the way you love to. Do you know what it's like? It's like watching a great five-a-side game. That's what it's like. They play five. It's like playing a five-a-side team. That's the way they play football.
Yeah, and obviously if you're a fan, that's what you want to see, your team playing that kind of football, but you also want to see them winning games, you know, and as long as they keep winning games and playing that style of football, everybody will be happy. I don't know what's happened to Dundee United. They have, as you've just said, they went off the boil, but I still think they've got players at home that can hurt Motherwell. I think this will be another wee tester for Motherwell. I'm going to go for Dundee United in this.
What?
Yeah, I think they can turn the corner.
Why? What evidence have you seen?
Well, I think no. If the goalkeeper stops throwing goals in the back of the net,
Still the same goalie.
No, but he's thinking about changing it.
He's changed to another one. He's thrown him in and all.
Not too bad.
Exactly.
Was it the third one they've got?
No, he changed the goal. The other boy, Kucherenko, was just a bomb scare.
I think they've just had their wee wobble that every other team in this league does, and I'm going to go Dundee United to win 2-1.
Yeah? Mm-hmm. That's an interesting one. They've only scored 4 goals. They've conceded 11. And I'll tell you right now, unbeaten in 6 games, Motherwell's third in the table. And, you know, I'm Elliot Watt for me he's going to be in the top 3 for Player of the Year. I'm trying to think who the other 2 are that are going to join him, but he's been absolutely brilliant. I like the point from Kenny. He says, Peter, you're at Tannadice, you're always there as the free pies. It's an interesting point you make, Kenny, because sometimes if they bring them in at the main bit of the press box,
the wee mini steak ones.
They're nice, fantastic, aren't they? Absolutely fantastic. I wonder if Kelly pie.
You get a roll pie up there. You stick it in your roll in Dundee.
Is that right?
You get a roll pie.
An earlier life.
Oh yeah.
Myself and your old pal, Big DJ.
Oh yeah, DJ.
We did a tour of Scotland. We went to every Premier League club from Inverness all the way down and tested their pies.
Wow.
In a day.
In a day?
In a day.
You two fat morons.
All the way down to Inverness.
I was wondering why.
Who was the best pie?
Hearts won it. No, Hearts won.
Hearts pie.
Hearts is a good pie.
Aye,
Hearts is a good pie. Yeah, but Kelly's is a great pie.
Yes, you're right. You're right.
I like Kelly pie, and up at Tannadice, absolutely fantastic. Mark and Jim, who looks after the press box, always great lads. I'm going to go Motherwell to win it 3-1.
Yeah, I fancy Motherwell strongly. I've been really impressed with them. And the thing for me is they can make 5, 6, 7 changes and they just come in and it's seamless, Peter. They're all playing at the same.
I think you two need to back up this weekend a St Mirren Motherwell double. for you two.
Against you?
Well, what was
Where are you going? You going Celtic and Dundee United?
yeah. And let's see who comes out.
What about a wee dinner?
I think Ruffy already does his one, does he know?
Yeah.
No, I don't. I've no idea.
Yeah, you nearly had it there, Tom.
Panic
What about a wee dinner?
Yes.
Right.
Yeah?
How do we work this out if it doesn't go 2-2 or
Oh,
whatever?
it's null and void then.
All right, okay.
So
if you get your
I
two
fancy
up-
Motherwell 2-1.
Right.
we're actually up against it here, Tom.
Aye.
We've taken Motherwell and St Mirren.
Aye.
We're up
May
against
as well
it.
just put it on the bookies.
You
Better odds
up
than
against
Ruffy.
it a minute because you're confident. I'm going to go
No,
St
we are
Mirren.
confident. We'll
And
take
Motherwell
it.
3-2.
We'll take the bet.
Right, good.
We're taking the
Okay,
bet.
good.
Is it a wee Italian restaurant or is it in the
Aye.
town?
Well, probably in the town.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Fantastic. Okay.
Right.
Fantastic. Let's see if we can get the Regana open again.
Fancy Motherwell strongly.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. Livingston against Dundee. Now, this is massive because it's 14 with 4 draws and 10 defeats. Livy not in a good place. And also, despite the fact he's earmarked a couple of players in January, he's also got a couple of loan players that could leave him, David Martindale. He's up against it.
I know what Ruffy's going to say here.
No, you don't.
Aye, I do. They're going to do the same as Dundee United. They're going to go Livingston to win, and with no basis whatsoever, just because they're
I'm
due
going to
it.
make
Right.
an opinion. Here.
Bold one.
If Livingston don't win this game, they're relegated. They're gone.
Yeah.
If they can't win this game, they've gone.
So, what's your prediction? You're going to pick Livingston to win, aren't you?
Well, we like Davy Martin.
I like
though.
Davy.
I don't- I
like
mean,
Davy.
that's just the basis.
You just basically want who you like.
No wins in
And
14.
I think he's under a bit of pressure. You can see now.
He's under pressure before he got to this.
No
game.
wins-
But he
no
was
wins in
usually
14
quite
Livingston.
jovial about it. You know, I can get them.
Right. What's your prediction,
Could
Ruffy?
you give us a week? Can I just say something to you? See before your prediction, right? Because we've really kind of put ourselves out on the edge here. Do you want to make it a treble? And you go Livingston, because I know you're going to go
I'm going to
Livingston.
go Livingston.
I knew he was going to do it.
So you go Livingston,
Right.
Celtic, and
Dundee United.
Dundee United. That's all right for us,
Right,
Tom.
right.
And we'll go Dundee,
St Mirren.
St Mirren.
Mirren, and Motherwell. Is that
Motherwell.
okay?
Right.
That's
Okay,
a good treble.
that's good.
So, why do you think Livingston's got no wins in 14? What is your
At
basis for them
home,
going to
every
win?
team's got to have a wee
Do you think they're due a win?
break.
Yeah.
Well, you know, like as when you go on a bad run, you've been at teams like that most of your career. It's got to turn. There's a wee game.
Did you think that against me? You're playing Hearts all the time. You never won a game in about.
No, I
6
kept
years.
saying it's going to happen.
And it never.
Never happened.
Well,
Well, I'm looking at Dundee, 1 win in 7 games. It's not great for them. By the way, interestingly enough, I did look at the stat and I read it in one of the papers, I think it was this morning. Simon Murray's only scored 1 goal in the league. And that tells its own story. Because if anything, Tam, when you're in that bottom 3, and I'm looking at Kilmarnock, and I'm looking at Livingston, I'm looking at Dundee, Simon Murray saved Dundee last season. I think he scored something like 16 goals. Stopped him getting relegated.
yeah, if he's not scoring, Peter, you're going to be struggling for somebody else to score goals. And I just don't think Dundee's recruitment. I think that obviously they lost a lot of good players. You know, the 3 players, Lyle Cameron, Mulligan, and McCowan. You know, that's big players. Adeyemi, the boy went back on loan. The full-back from Liverpool. They lost a lot of good players.
To interrupt you there, what's happened to him?
Who?
That full-back, Liverpool, has he went out somewhere?
I don't know.
You know the boy we're talking about?
Beck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't know.
Did Celtic know?
They were interested.
We were interested.
But I just think Dundee have lost so many good, and I've not replaced them with anywhere near the same quality. So this game brings back PTSD for me because I played in this relegated at Livingston the last game of the season for Dundee.
That's my point.
Yeah, I know.
So,
I know.
and this will bring a lot of bad memories back for Dundee supporters. Me even talking about this, but I think Dundee can go and get a result. I'm going to go for 2-1 to Dundee.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to take Dundee on 2-1, but I do think it's got a draw written all over.
It's a game neither wants to lose. I think a point wouldn't be. Neither would be too disappointed.
Yeah. What about the Dandy Dons against Kilmarnock? This one here, Stuart Kettlewell's side, 7 defeats and 9, 2 draws, and they've got not only they've got the Dons, they've got Falkirk, St Mirren, and Dundee. If you're talking about Livingston being in trouble, I think Kilmarnock need to seriously over the next 4 games take some points to suggest that they can stop the rot.
Well, you can tell that they're under a wee bit of pressure if Stuart Kettlewell starts kicking bottles of water. You know, he lost it completely last week. It's not the thing you see with him. He usually keeps himself quite controlled, so he's obviously feeling the pressure. There's no doubt about that. I mean, I don't think Kilmarnock are a team that should be dropping out of division. I think they've got very well run, they've got good support, and they've also got some good players. So, does the midweek game with Aberdeen affect this game? I just think Kilmarnock have gone as well, so I'm going to go Aberdeen.
Yeah. Aurora says it must be the last 5 minutes of the show. You're going to talk about the Dons game. We talked about Aberdeen for about 10 minutes at the start of the show. Did you not listen? We did talk about the Dundee Dons.
Clear Aberdeen bias.
Yes, absolutely. Aurora, I need you to retract that statement, because we have talked about Aberdeen, and I am going to back them, because I think Aberdeen, two things that stick in my mind. One is, I think we have mentioned the fact that I think the board have done well. They've backed them. They've got quality players. Lazetic missed a sitter the other night, yesterday. He scored a couple of good goals. I think they've got enough quality. I think they've got more than enough quality to defeat Kilmarnock.
Yeah, Aberdeen have picked up really, and domestically. They picked up a great result last week. Kevin Nisbet's back scoring goals. Yeah, I think they've got too many good players, and I think they'll continue to climb the table and really push for the top 4-5. So Kilmarnock, I didn't think they were that bad last. I thought 3-0 flat Rangers.
Yeah.
I thought Kilmarnock did a lot of the game, but
that was a super.
2-0 Aberdeen.
That was a super strike for Nisbet.
Oh, look, great goal.
Last week,
great goal. No, great goal.
Yeah.
18 yards outside of the foot.
You were there when I did it.
Where?
Cumbernauld. You drove up.
Was it called?
You drove up in your car. I hit it from 30 yards, and then you get back in your car and left.
Oh, did you put it with outside your foot? The goalie had a patch in his eye.
Aye. Ruffy was thinking about Zico, the last outside of the foot.
Absolutely. I listen. Somebody mentioned to me the whole Zico affair. We're going to talk about that quickly, but 2-0, I think. By the way,
yeah, 2-0
should Hibs go to Glasgow and beat Rangers on Monday night?
Can they? Yes. Will they?
they?
Probably not, because they haven't turned up at all against Rangers this season.
So not really able to replicate what Hearts are doing.
Yeah, until
You said it in your column.
I did until Hibs start turning over a Celtic, Rangers, Hearts. Even a Motherwell, they've took 1 point off them out of 15 or something. So they need to go and take a scalp, Hibs, and they need to go and do it Monday night. But I think it'll be a draw.
So do I. 1-1.
Rangers will win that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay. Not going to argue with you on that. For those who did, I was talking to somebody who was mentioning about your Zico goal the other day there, and I said, listen, I know we joke with him, but go back and look at Zico's goal against Ruffy in 1982 in the World Cup, and it's right in the postage stamp. There's not a goalkeeper in the world would have saved it.
Tan sent me a video, didn't you? Yeah. What age was Zico taking the free kicks?
60 odds.
60 odds. It's a montage of him scoring goals.
Yeah.
In Brazil and everywhere, and obviously against me.
Yeah.
But he's on the training partner, he's 64.
And they're goalie.
And he's
still bending him
doing
in the top corner.
You never lose it. Just out of curiosity, before we finish, I've got to say the ticket prices, Scotland games, ridiculous. Haiti, £134, that's the base price. Category 2 is £298. Category 1 is £373. £373 for the game against Haiti. And what we're talking, 4,000 Tartan Army fans, maybe a wee bit more. Morocco, £164. Then the Category 2 ticket for that game is £320. Category 1 is £447. And then Brazil, this is for the cheapest, £197.50. Category 2, £373, and Category 1, £522. And if, as we expect, Scotland get to the final, Ruffy, it's £3,000 for a base ticket, and then £6,500 for a half decent one.
Well, you save that money and spend it in the other one. Yeah. It's outrageous. I mean, you're talking about flights, hotels for a Tartan Army supporter that goes all over the Europe.
Yeah.
You know, that's a big hit. I'd be surprised if a lot of them can take that up.
And for us, just having the flights alone now, because we're close to the accommodation being done.
We need to phone John Murphy.
Yeah, we need to get...
Johnny's going to phone you shortly. Don't worry.
We need to get an SUV that's going to be able to handle a 25-hour journey without the...
I've got that in the bag as well, about the travel. We can stop at Washington and see Eric McAleer.
I don't know if you've been watching.
We can stop at Washington to see Eric McAleer, and then we can stop at Atlanta and see John Murphy. We can stay with him, and then on the way down.
I don't know if you've been watching the telly.
But you need to phone John Murphy to get it sorted.
Race to the world, the top of the world.
Yeah.
Have you been watching it?
Yeah.
I can just imagine the threes with their big rucksacks.
Oh, can I ask you something? Can I ask you something? Just out of curiosity, I'm going to ask you this, right? He's come up trumps with the accommodation. I've got the flights. What are you bringing to the table?
I'm just making it nice for you. Invite me.
Yes.
You better get his tickets. Get Hall of Fame.
No, we've got press passes.
Hall of Fame.
It's absolutely a disgrace, by the way. Just you need to bring something to the party. You okay?
Food.
Listen, yeah, something, anything. Been a good chat. Europe not great. Premier Sports Cup final to look forward to. Lots of good domestic issues to get our teeth into. We're giving you an opinion. Don't forget, if you enjoy watching the show or listening to it on the podcast, thank you to so many for downloading the podcast as well. All you have to do is hit the subscribe button on our YouTube channel. If you want to go to the Champions League, you want to be in the hat, then all you have to do is subscribe to our PLZ Premium all the way through to the end of the season. In April, we'll announce the winner. You and your pal could be off to the Champions League, flights and accommodation in there as well. But right now, because there are so many people who watch the programme, we've got lots of subscribers, but lots of people who watch the programme who don't subscribe. So if you please do that for us, we really would appreciate it. Have a great weekend. Go and watch the football, enjoy it, and then come back to us on Monday and we'll talk about what's happened over the weekend. Thanks to Ruffy, thanks to Tam, and from myself, Peter Martin, thanks for listening and watching.